Hey, everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're talking all about what to feed those awesome American bullies.
Those powerhouses, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a great article here all about the best dog food for American bullies. Plus, we've got some extra insights from Chewy, Reddit, and Dog Time.
That's a great collection of sources. Should give us a really well-rounded view.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to cover everything from premium brands to budget picks, tips and tricks, the whole 9 yards. But before we jump in, did you know that there's actually a dog food called Bully Max?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. Isn't that the one for, like, high-performance dogs?
Yeah, it's specifically designed for them. It's got a whopping 535 calories per cup.
Wow, that's a lot of fuel.
That is a lot. I mean, American bullies need a lot of fuel, right?
Definitely. They're strong, they're energetic. They need the right food to support that.
So let's talk about what exactly goes into the best diet for an American bully. Like, what are the essentials?
Well, you got to start with protein. I mean, it's the foundation for those powerful muscles.
Right, so how much protein are we talking?
Aim for at least 30% protein in their food. And the source matters, too.
Okay, so what are some good protein sources we should look for?
Things like chicken, bison, venison, fish. Those are all good signs.
So picture this. You're at the pet store, you're staring at a wall of dog food. What else are you looking for on that ingredient list besides that protein source?
Well, you want healthy fats. Those are super important. They'll give your bully a shiny coat, can keep their joints healthy.
Yeah, no one wants a dull coat.
Right. And salmon oil, flaxseed, those are great sources of those healthy fats.
So that's protein and fats. What else are we missing?
Carbs. Don't forget the carbs. They give your bully that sustained energy. Look for wholesome sources like brown rice or sweet potatoes.
So those are our big three then. Protein, fats, and carbs.
Exactly. Get those right, and you're off to a great start.
All right, so we've got those building blocks down. Now let's talk brands. What are some of those top-tier dog food brands that really cater to American bullies' needs?
Oh, there's some great ones out there. Taste of the Wild is a popular choice. A lot of bully owners really like them. They're known for their grain-free formulas and high-quality protein sources.
Okay, and what about Blue Buffalo? I see their commercials all the time.
Blue Buffalo Wilderness is a good one. They use real meat as the first ingredient, like chicken. And they've got these little things they call Life Source Bits.
Life Source Bits, what are those?
They're basically these little nuggets packed with antioxidants and nutrients.
Oh, that's cool. Kind of like a little bonus boost.
Yeah, exactly.
What other brands should we have on our radar?
Wellness Core is another great option. They're another grain-free brand with a focus on protein. And Orijen is a really good one, too. They're all about using fresh regional ingredients. They even use freeze-dried raw ingredients.
Wow, that sounds fancy. But I get it. High-quality ingredients, high-quality nutrition.
Exactly. You get what you pay for.
Speaking of paying, let's be real for a second. Not everyone has a ton of money to spend on dog food. Are there any good options out there that won't break the bank?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are some really great budget-friendly picks that still provide excellent nutrition.
Let's hear them. I'm always looking for a good deal.
Okay, so Kirkland Signature dog food from Costco. That one's a big winner. A lot of American bully owners swear by it, and it's surprisingly affordable.
Ah, Costco. They never let us down.
Nope. And then there's Wholehearted and from BM. They both get good reviews, and they're usually around $50 a bag.
So we've got our premium picks, and we've got our budget-friendly options. Let's say you've done your research and you've found the perfect food for your bully. What's the best way to make the switch?
Don't just switch over overnight. That can really upset their stomach.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Their tummies need time to adjust.
Exactly. So you want to do it gradually. Start by mixing a little bit of the new food in with their old food,
Yeah.
and then slowly increase the ratio over about a week or 10 days.
And while we're talking about things that can upset their stomachs, did you know that some American bullies actually can't handle chicken?
It's true. Chicken intolerance is definitely something to watch out for.
How can you tell if your bully's got a chicken intolerance?
Well, if they've got any digestive issues, like diarrhea or vomiting shortly after eating chicken, that's a red flag. You might also see some skin problems like excessive itching or rashes.
So what do you do if you think your bully's got a chicken problem?
Lamb and venison are usually good alternatives.
Yeah.
But always talk to your vet to be sure. They can help you figure out what's going on and give you some personalized advice.
All right, so we've talked about the basics of choosing a good dog food, but now let's get to the fun part. What are some things we can add to their food to make mealtime extra special?
Oh, there are so many ways to jazz up their bowls.
I'm all about spoiling my bully.
Eggs are a great option. They're packed with protein and nutrients.
Yeah, I love adding a scrambled egg to my dog's food every now and then.
Right.
What else is on the menu?
Chicken feet. They're a great source of glucosamine, which is really good for their joints.
Chicken feet. Really?
Yeah, it might sound weird, but dogs go crazy for them.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Anything else?
Well, you could always add a little bit of salmon oil or flaxseed for those omega-3s. And of course, a spoonful of ground beef is always a crowd pleaser.
Yum. Okay, so we've got our base food, we've got our fancy toppers, but before we go overboard,
We got to remember potential allergens.
right, some things are just no-goes.
Yeah.
What are the most common culprits?
Beef, dairy, and wheat. Those are the usual suspects.
So if you notice your bully's got itchy skin or an upset tummy, it might be time to investigate.
Exactly. And your vet can always help you figure out if food allergy is to blame.
So really, it all comes down to paying attention to your bully's individual needs, right?
Absolutely. Just like with people, one size doesn't fit all.
Well, we've covered a lot in this first part. Protein, fats, carbs, brands, transitions, chicken intolerances, even some fun toppings.
We've laid a good foundation. But we're just getting started.
That's right. Stick around for part 2, where we'll dive into portion control, the grain-free debate, and much more.
All right, so we've talked a lot about choosing the right food for your American bully. But now let's talk about how much to feed them.
Yeah, portion control.
Yeah.
Super important.
It is. Overfeeding can lead to obesity, which puts extra stress on their joints and can lead to a whole bunch of other health problems.
And no one wants that. But you also don't want to underfeed them either.
Right? You got to find that sweet spot.
So how do you know how much to feed your bully?
Well, it depends on a few factors like their age, their activity level, and even the food you're giving them.
Okay, that makes sense. So where do you start?
A good starting point is the feeding guide on the dog food bag.
Right, those guidelines, they usually give you a range based on weight.
Yeah, but it's important to remember those are just estimates.
So you might need to adjust based on your bully's individual needs.
Exactly. You got to pay attention to their body condition.
So how can you tell if you're feeding them the right amount?
A good way to check is to run your hands along their sides. You should be able to feel their ribs without pressing too hard.
Okay, so if you can't feel their ribs at all, maybe they're carrying a little extra weight.
Yeah, probably. And if the ribs are super prominent, they might need a little bit more food.
It's all about finding that balance.
It is. And speaking of balance, let's talk about a hot topic in the dog world these days, the grain-free debate.
Oh yeah, I see this all the time online. Some people swear by grain-free, others say grains are totally fine. What's the deal?
It's not a simple answer. There are pros and cons to both sides.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Some experts say that grains can actually be a good source of nutrients and fiber for dogs.
And they can provide energy too, which is important for active dogs like bullies.
Right. But some experts also believe that some bullies can actually be sensitive to grains like wheat or corn.
So it really depends on the individual dog.
It does. If you notice your bully having any issues like digestive problems or skin problems after eating grains, it might be worth exploring a grain-free diet.
Makes sense. So pay attention to your dog, see how they're doing.
Exactly. And if you're ever unsure, just talk to your vet. They can give you the best advice for your specific bully.
All right, so we've talked about food now. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked. Water.
Oh, yeah, water is just as important as food,
Yeah.
especially for a high-energy breed like the American Bully.
Yeah, my bully goes through water like crazy.
They do. A good rule of thumb is about an ounce of water per pound of body weight per day.
So like a 50-pound bully would need about 50 ounces of water a day.
That's about right. And it's got to be fresh water, too. Change it out regularly, especially if it's warm out.
And how can you tell if your bully is dehydrated?
If they're lethargic or have dry gums or sunken eyes, those are all signs of dehydration.
So if you see any of those signs, make sure they get some water ASAP.
Yeah, and if they don't improve, give your vet a call.
Now let's talk about treats, because I know we all love giving our bullies treats.
I know, me too. It's so fun to spoil them.
It is. But how do you do it without totally ruining their healthy diet?
Well, treats are a great way to reward your bully and reinforce training, but you have to give them in moderation.
Right, too many treats and all that healthy food goes out the window.
Exactly. And you got to choose your treats wisely.
Okay, so what are some good treats for American bullies?
Look for treats that are low in calories and fat and made with good ingredients.
So like what kind of ingredients are we talking about?
A lot of bullies actually enjoy fruits and vegetables like carrots, apples, blueberries, even green beans.
Really? They like veggies?
Yeah. You got to cut them up into small pieces, though, so they don't choke.
Okay, that's good to know. What about meaty treats? Can you give them those?
Yeah, of course. But choose them carefully. Look for treats made with real meat, like chicken, beef, or fish.
And avoid those ones with like fillers and byproducts.
Exactly. And remember, treats should only be a small part of their diet.
Okay, now let's talk about supplements. When are supplements necessary for an American bully?
Well, ideally, they should be getting everything they need from their diet.
So if they're eating a balanced diet, they probably don't need supplements.
Probably not. But there are some cases where supplements might be beneficial.
Like what?
Well, if you're feeding a home-cooked diet, for example.
Oh, yeah. I guess it would be tough to make sure they're getting everything they need from just home-cooked meals.
Yeah, exactly. So you might need to add some supplements in there to fill any gaps.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Supplements can also be helpful for bullies with certain health conditions, like joint problems or allergies.
So if your bully has a specific issue, supplements might be able to help.
Yeah, but it's always best to talk to your vet before you start giving them any supplements.
They can help you choose the right ones and figure out the right dosage.
Exactly. Now let's talk about some mistakes that bully owners often make when it comes to feeding.
Ooh, good idea. Let's learn from other people's mistakes.
Right. It's always good to be aware of these things so you can avoid them.
Okay, so what are some of the biggest feeding blunders?
One of the biggest ones is free feeding.
Free feeding, what's that?
It's when you just leave food out all the time for your dog to graze on whenever they want.
Oh, so like an all-you-can-eat buffet for dogs?
Yeah, pretty much. And it seems convenient, but it can lead to overeating, weight gain, and even picky eating habits.
So you're saying it's better to have set meal times?
It is. Measure out their food, give them their meals at specific times, and take away any uneaten food after a little while.
That makes a lot of sense. What's another common mistake?
Another big one is feeding table scraps.
Oh man, I'm so guilty of this. Those puppy dog eyes are hard to resist.
I know it's tempting, but a lot of human food can actually be really bad for dogs.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Some foods are even toxic to dogs. So as much as you want to share your food, it's best to stick to dog food and treats.
Okay, you're right. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. So those are just a couple of common mistakes to avoid.
Well, I think we've covered a ton of information in this second portion. Control the grain-free debate, water treats, supplements, even those common feeding mistakes.
We've come a long way, but there's still more to learn.
That's right. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll talk about how diet can affect some of the health issues that are common in American bullies. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our American bully nutrition deep dive, and we've talked about a lot of the basics, but now I want to get into how we can really use nutrition to help our bullies thrive.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So we know these dogs, they're prone to certain health issues, right?
Yep, things like hip dysplasia, skin allergies.
So how can we use what we feed them to help manage those problems?
Well, let's start with hip dysplasia.
Okay, so what can we do nutritionally to help support those hips?
Well, protein is really important for that.
Right, protein for strong muscles to support the joints.
Exactly. You want to look for foods with at least 30% protein from good sources like chicken or fish.
Okay, and what about calcium? That's good for bones, right?
Yes, calcium is essential for strong bones, and strong bones are the foundation for healthy joints.
So where do we get calcium in a dog's diet?
You can find it in things like bone-in fish, leafy green vegetables. Even some dog foods are fortified with calcium.
Now let's talk about those skin allergies, because that's something that a lot of bullies deal with.
It is.
Itchy skin, irritated skin, what can we do?
Remember those omega-3 fatty acids we talked
The
about?
ones that are good for a shiny coat.
Those same omega-3s, they can also help with skin allergies because they have anti-inflammatory properties.
Oh, so they can actually help soothe the skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They can help calm down that inflammation and reduce the allergic reaction.
So we're talking about things like salmon oil, flaxseed.
Right, you can add those to their food, or you can look for dog foods that already have a good amount of omega-3s in them.
And sometimes it's not just about adding things in, it's also about taking things out, right?
Right.
Like if your bully is sensitive to chicken or beef or wheat,
Yeah, those common allergens we talked about earlier.
a limited ingredient diet or a hypoallergenic food could be a game changer for them.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about something that I've heard a lot about, but I don't fully understand. Probiotics. Those are the good bacteria for our gut health, right?
Mhm.
Do they work the same way for dogs?
Yeah, probiotics can be really beneficial for dogs too.
So how do they work?
They help balance the bacteria in the gut, which can improve digestion, boost the immune system, and even help with allergies.
Wow, so it's not just about what they eat, it's about how well they're digesting it.
Exactly.
So how do you give a dog probiotics?
There are probiotic supplements specifically made for dogs, and you can also find dog foods that have probiotics added to them.
Okay, so you've got options.
You do, but as always, it's a good idea to chat with your vet before starting any new supplements.
Well, I think we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive into American bully nutrition.
Yeah, we've gone over a lot.
We talked about their unique dietary needs, different food options, busted some myths, and even learned how we can use food to help keep them healthy.
I think we gave everyone a lot to think about.
I hope so, but before we wrap things up, I want to leave everyone with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about dog food labels and ingredients,
All right.
but I think it's important to go beyond the label, do a little extra research.
I agree 100%.
Look into those individual ingredients. What are the pros and cons, especially when it comes to some of those trendy ingredients we see popping up everywhere?
Yeah, like grain-free or those exotic protein sources.
Exactly. Become a savvy shopper. Be informed. Your bully will thank you for it.
For sure.
That's all we've got for you today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.